Wagwan y'all, it's Dimz back for the attack, but you already know that, and this is just a side video of the follow of my SmashBox review. This video I'm going to be telling you how to customize it. Let's jump right into it. Customizing a fight stick is one way to make a fight stick feel like it's uniquely and truly yours. Now keep in mind, the fact that you are about to open up the fight stick means you are going to void the 3-month return policy of Hitbox Arcade. So you should not customize your fight stick unless you know for a fact that you do want this controller and you do not have any thoughts of trying to return it back to Hitbox Arcade. So to open up the SmashBox, it is very simple. There are 4 screws that double as the feet of the fight stick that can be screwed off with only your hands. Now there are 2 screws in the middle on the top and bottom that you are going to need the Allen key that was provided with the SmashBox to open. Once you did all that, all you have to do is just lift up the panel and you get to see the innards of the SmashBox. Now let's talk about how to do the most simplest version of customizing a fight stick, which is replacing a button. Now it's said that this process can be done with only your hands. However, I'm going to be real with you. You are going to need some needle nose pliers, just in case. Actually, not even just in case, just get them. And that is because for most fight sticks when dealing with quick disconnects, sometimes the disconnects doesn't like to be so easy. I'm going to give you a quick and dirty of it. When removing a button on using the wires and whatever, you're supposed to put your fingers, or you're supposed to grip right here. Don't grip on the metal part that's connected to the button. Don't grip on the wire itself. You have to grip somewhere in between in the middle, like how it's shown on screen. Now when you grip there, you're supposed to just give it a little grip, maybe a little wiggle, and it comes pop out just fine. However, some wires are stubborn, some buttons are weird, yada yada. If all else fails, you might want to take your needle nose pliers, put it in that safe area, and give it a good wiggle and maybe just yank it a bit. Now it's going to pop out, and at times it's going to feel like you broke it, and heck, it might actually lose its grip on the button. So next time when you go to pull it out, it might just come out really easy. But this is actually fine, and it's fine. It's fine. Some wires are very stubborn, and like I said, it's going to feel like you're breaking it sometimes when you just want to just yank it out. But sometimes you might just have to just yank it out. However, be careful and don't yank it out like a madman, because if you do, you might mess up that metal tip part. You might yank it out, and you might even screw up the wire. And if you do that, you're going to need a wire cutter. You need to cut the wire, then you need to strip the wire, and you need to crimp on another metal piece. All this can be found at focusattack.com or any other site that sells arcade fighting stick parts. Now that you got the 2 wires removed from the button, one is the ground wire and one's the actual wire, I guess, you can just pull out the button, whether it's a screw in or a snap in. Just take out the button and then replace it, and everything's all good. Now let's actually talk about the other customization, is art. Now art for the SmashBox is a way more complex multi-step process. So let's get started. Well, step 1, you're going to need to download the template for the art. This is found on Hitbox Arcade's website, but you can also look in the description. I have all the good links in the description below. The file for the art is a .psd file, so if you don't have Photoshop and if you don't have clip art or any other photo manipulation software that accepts PSD, you should download GIMP. GIMP is a free art manipulation software, or I guess photo manipulation software. So yeah, download GIMP. After that, get your art piece, and you should line it up with the certain layers according to the template. Last but not least, and this is crucial for when you're sending off your art piece and your file, make sure you save the file exactly how you want it to look on the art piece. So if there is a layer that is turned on and you don't want it to look like that when you save it, make sure you turn it off and save it as how you want it to look like. Don't make the mistake I did and I guess accidentally leave a layer turned on, or you might be buying your stuff twice. From there, go to focusattack.com, which is in the description below of where exactly you should go, because it's a custom fight stick for the artwork. Upload your file and just pay for it, and it'll be shipped to you. Now, when you finally receive it, it is time to put it on, and the first thing you need to do is take off the front plexi. But to do this, you have to remove all of your buttons on your fight stick. After you remove all the buttons on your SmashBox, you got to remove these tiny white anchors. They're what keeps the plexi in place. Also, remember when you're removing all the buttons on your fight stick, label your wires and just label them and try to keep them together. It's a headache and a half that you don't have to go through later if you do that. It's recommended that you have a flathead screwdriver to remove the anchors, but what you really want to do is be able to push down this white part that's sticking up. Just want to push it down with a great force, and then it'll just pop straight out. Now that all that's done, it is time to take off your plexi. By default, when you get the SmashBox, you will not have a clear plexi. This plexi is not made for art. What you can do is go to hitbox.com and buy a clear plexi. However, there is another way to make your plexi clear, which I'm about to explain to you now. So if you don't want to spend the money and buy a clear plexi from Hitbox Arcade's website, what you can do is buy a bottle of professional nail polish remover. Now, to my knowledge, the plexi is acrylic. All the white stuff and the logo, it's all made acrylic. So it can be removed with nail polish remover. I had got this bottle of professional nail polish remover, which is what you're going to need from Walmart. I think I spent about $2 to $3. So just go to Walmart or wherever store that to your convenience that has a professional nail polish remover. Go to the nail section and look for a bottle like this. You're also going to need a little bucket or basin or something to put the plexi in, because you're going to need to make it soak for a second. And I bought the little food thing that people use at cookouts and stuff from it was only $1. You could get it at Walmart or a dollar store, anywhere. Now if you read the bottle like I did for the nail polish remover, it will yell at you and tell you how dangerous it is to make sure you're in a ventilated area and make sure you do not ingest it and such and such. So I just went outside with gloves. So make sure you are being safe when you're doing this stuff. From there, it's pretty simple. Just pour it into the little basin or whatever you have, put your plexi in, and just let it soak. And it should, after literally a little bit, you should see it starting to remove the acrylic. After a few minutes, all the acrylic will just be disintegrated off of it, and you are gonna probably need to just rub it a bit so you could get more of it and more of it off. Oh, it's just coming straight off. But it all will just fall apart and just fall completely off. After that, take some good old soap and water, or however you might do it, and just make sure you clean the rest of the fight stick. Just get all the little remaining residue off and all the stuff. If you see little smudges on the clear plastic of the fight stick plexi, that is fine. You're not going to really see it too much when you have your art under it. But just use your soap and water, make sure you wash it thoroughly, and make sure you dry it off. After that, you should have a clear plexi. Now let's go back to your art. Now, because you ordered the art piece from Focus Attack and it was probably a custom Fightwork art piece, this means the buttons are not pre-cut for you. So that means you are going to need some straight edge blade, some box cutter, or an X-Acto knife preferably, to cut out the holes yourself. There is a lot of different methods you can take to cut it out, and that's all up to you. But my surefire method, and the one that seems to always work, is just take your time and painstakingly cut out each hole as best as you can. Try to aim to stay within the circular pre-cut lines where it wants you to cut them out. But just in case you mess up. If you stay within it and mess up, that's fine, because the button will literally just make the room itself. But just try to stay within it when you're cutting. After that, line up the art piece with the plexi and your SmashBox again, and line it up so you can start poking holes for the anchors to go back in. After it's lined up, you want to actually separate the anchors because it's actually a two-part thing. You want to put one piece in first and make sure it's all the way in, and then after that, just press in the other piece on top of it. It's just that simple. Now, with all the anchors back in correctly, your fight stick art might have some excess paper on it. It might be sticking out way past your fight stick. This is where you're going to grab your straight edge blade again, and you're going to cut off all the excess. And with that, you should drop back in all your buttons in the correct places, then wire up all your buttons correctly, and everything should be done. Also, congratulations. This part definitely took some time, but heck, you did it.